Welcome to Buckets, your daily NBA betting podcast presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'm Brandon Kravitz, joined by a pair of my Buckets brothers, Mr. Nick himself, Joe Dellera, and we do have some New York Knickerbockers to talk about on this episode. And the captain of the Heat bandwagon, Bryan Fonseca. We have our best bets of the night, a Wednesday in the association, full slate. We've got 9 games to pick through here, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 stars, and we're going to dive right into it right now. Joe, hit me with your 3-star play, and welcome to the show.
Hey, it's nice to be on here always, but I got LaMelo Ball over 22.5 points. I really like the spot for LaMelo against the Indiana Pacers. A large part of why I'm looking at this is LaMelo, this is actually a little bit of a high line for him lately. He's gone under this line in what's been really 5 straight games, but he did take a little bit of time to come back from injury, kind of get eased back in there, 27 minutes, 28 minutes. And that's definitely a bit of a downturn from about like 33 to 36 minutes per game, which is what he had previously been playing. But what I like here about this particular matchup against Indiana is Indiana does tend to play people straight up. They don't tend to help a lot. And I do think that for LaMelo, he's somebody that's going to be able to get downhill against them pretty much whenever he wants to. And I do think that Indiana is going to struggle to be able to defend him. They've kind of struggled against players that are like kind of similar to LaMelo as well. Devin Booker scored 33 points against them. Isaiah Collier even had a good game, 14 points. And I think that some of these types of lead guards that can kind of get downhill, get their own shot, create on their own, are the exact type of player that you want to kind of line up against the Indiana Pacers. Additionally, for LaMelo anyway, last time he played them, the Hornets won by 20 points. He put up a 31 spot back last year against the Indiana Pacers. So really like the spot for him against Indiana. And I think at 22.5, it's a little bit light. And I think that we are a little bit over indexing the fact that he just came back from injury a couple games ago and had a couple games that he, needed a little bit of time to ramp up. So I like LaMelo over 22.5 points.
I always love when you guys come on here and just find different ways to fade this G League team that they're fielding in Indiana. Any pushback on this, Bryan?
I mean, my 3 stars are literally on the other side of this, but I think this is a spot where if you're Charlotte and you want to be a partially serious team, like I believe you can be, this is a must-win game for the Charlotte Hornets. You cannot lose to these Pacers. Like, I don't think so, even if the line is basically a pick-up at this point, although I think it's flipped. I think it was Pacers opened as the favorite, and now it's Charlotte. But barely. It's like by a point. So, yeah, I have no pushback on this at all. I think LaMelo Ball, he's going to have his usage. Obviously, his minutes have kind of been monitored since coming back from the ankle injury because But I do think he's not going to face the best defense in the NBA is what I would say. So LaMelo should have his opportunities to catch this.
So how does your 3-star play go counter to this?
Literally on the other side, we have Andrew Nembhard over 24.5 points plus assists, a line that he's gone over 4 times since coming back from injury in the 6 games since he's come back from injury. He's also just a ridiculous amount of free throws. He's gotten in 6 games or in 7 games rather this season, if you include even the first one where he just made a cameo before being injured. 37 free throws this year, and he's made all but 1, apparently. Now, Charlotte, interestingly enough, they send you to the line the least amount of times in the NBA per 100 possessions, but I don't think that's something that is going to matter as it pertains to Andrew Nembhard and his attack. They send you to the line about 20 or so times per game, and still Andrew Nembhard, I think if it's only 20 free throws for the Pacers, he's going to get a good amount of those. He's passing the ball well. He has a higher usage because he has to, because as we just kind of alluded to, this team is not very good right now. This does feel like, oddly enough, a game that they can potentially win. For the sake of my Hornets over season win total, I'm hoping that that's not the case. But objectively, yeah, I think this is a really good spot for Andrew Nembhard, who's not facing a great defense. So Charlotte right now is, I think, 23rd or 24th. We'll see how the results of tonight adjust this, but 23rd or 24th in defense and from the perimeter, that's a spot where you can hurt them. Their defense was better in the game against Toronto a couple days ago. But I do think that was a product of just more hustle and things of that nature. And this one, I think Andrew Nembhard, by necessity, he'll have to get this over if Indiana has a chance. And I think they do have a chance. And he's been scoring the ball really well, 20 or more points in 5 of 6. So on points alone, he should be in the territory. And then with the assist, he should be able to get over the hump.
This right here is why you guys are proficient sports bettors. On a 9-game slate where we have Rockets Cavs, we have Warriors Heat, we've got the Knicks taking on Cooper Flag. Both of you instantly attack the Hornets and the Pacers.
It's the best game on the slate. I don't know what you're talking about.
I would ask what's the matter with you, but I envy your. I don't know what I envy. Joe, what do you think of the other side of this? I cannot believe we've started this podcast breaking down Hornets Pacers with everything in front of us. You guys are wild.
I mean, I do think that it's not bad. I don't think that they totally go against each other in the event that, like, we do want the game to be competitive.
We want points. We want scoring.
We want points. We want scoring. And honestly, like, Nembhard has been really solid this season. I think this is something that we more or less expected, right? That he was going to be able to step up without Tyrese Halliburton, with the variety of the injuries that Indiana has had. So, like, I really don't mind it. I mean, he's been money on this line all season. So I really think it's a good opportunity. It's a little bit of a buy low after a 19-point game against the Pistons, or a 19 PA game against the Detroit Pistons. So can't talk you off of this one at all. This game, I guess I'm going to be watching Hornets Pacers. Like, who knew?
I'm going to be doing a watch along for Knicks Mavs, and I'm going to make sure Hornets Pacers is on one of like on my laptop somewhere on like an alternate screen. I'm going to make sure that game is watched.
Nothing like pre-gaming the Knicks with the Pacers and the Hornets.
I peek behind the curtain. I am doing my portion of the podcast today from the Kia Center. The Magic just got done beating the Golden State Warriors. Steph goes wild, but the Magic were able to weather the storms. So I'm in the arena. I am overlooking the court as we speak. You would think that in an NBA arena, I would have quality internet. And I feel like I'm doing the show from the Bahama Islands, the way that I'm cutting in and out. So hopefully this isn't impacting any of your listening experiences, but both of these guys go from talking really slow on my end to talking like they are a Bugs Bunny on speed. So that's what I'm experiencing. My 3-star play, I'm on the Raptors plus 1.5. I have been backing the Sixers without Embiid, and I am now going to hop off of that train because that gravy train, it just has to come to an end at some point. Their ATS record with him on the shelf is solid, but I like them as dogs in those situations where the spread balloons up because, oh no, Embiid's out. They're still favorites in this matchup against a team they've already beaten who's fully healthy. And just overall, they're better. I feel like Philly is going to crash back down to earth. The Sixers have failed to cover in their last 2. Points per game tilts the way of the Raptors. Defense tilts the way of the Raptors. Turnover percentage, rebounding percentage, pace of play, it all points in the direction of Toronto. And the injury bug. Kelly Oubre, whatever you want to factor in with Joel Embiid. Paul George is out. I have a correlated play as my 1-star. That'll go along with the style of play that I expect to see. But if this is run and gun like I would expect, because the Sixers are going to play faster without Embiid, that is going to fall right into the hands of Toronto. A little bit of payback in mind. Raptors plus 1.5. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I really like the way the Raptors have looked for the most part. There's some things to work on, but I do think now we're kind of swinging the other way with Philly. Toronto just has a lot that they can throw at you. And this sort of three-headed monster with Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and RJ Barrett kind of leading the show, all of whom I feel like this team is going to produce one all-star at least. I think most people would say Scotty Barnes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I think the way that they've looked and the way that they can just drive relentlessly on this team, especially without Joel Embiid now, is going to be problematic for Philly. And I think with Toronto, in addition to that, love their depth. Jamal Shed, who we've talked about probably more here than most shows, like is somebody who I think I might be sniffing around his props as well. We'll see. We'll see if what his points and assists look like for this one.
Joe, what about you? Are you on board?
If I have the opportunity to hate on the Philadelphia 76ers, I will seize it every single time. But no, like Maxi's been awesome. Really, like I think they're actually a much more fun watch when Maxi gets the opportunity to be like the 1A, like unquestionably. And they have been in like my league pass rankings for that. But I do think that Brian and you are both right in terms of what we're seeing from Toronto. I think the team they're deep. They have a lot of individual talent, and I think that it's starting to come together as the season's progressing. So I think that this line is a little bit. So I think it's a little surprising, honestly, that we're seeing this price the way that it is with the Raptors as dogs, and with it even being as short as it is. So I can't really talk you off of the Raptors at all. And I honestly would have thought that maybe it would be at least maybe minus 110 on each side. But I guess, Philly's going to get a little bit of an edge for being at home here.
And that's another way that you can play this. The Raptors money line, the last I looked, was at minus 105. So if you want to pay less of the VIG, you can do that. I would advise not in this particular situation. This Sixers team gets really goofy at the end of these games, especially when they play with Maxey as the lead. I've seen on numerous occasions now games that end on that final bucket, and that 1.5 might seem negligible now. But deep into the fourth quarter, I think you're going to want to have that if you want to be on the Raptors. So I think it's worth paying up the extra 5 cents on that. We'll hop into our best bets continue to hop into the remainder of our best bets, 2-star, 1-star plays on the Wednesday slate. But first, an important message from the mayor of Buckets, Matt Moore.
The Buckets podcast is teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code BUCKETSNBA when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code BUCKETSNBA when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours.
Well said, Matt Moore. Appreciate you. Recap on our 3-star plays. Joe is on LaMelo Ball over 22.5 points against the Pacers. Brian, being the sicko that he is, stayed on that game. Andrew Nemhard over 24.5 points and assists. And I am on the Raptors plus 1.5 against the Philadelphia 76ers. Do any of us have the Knicks minus 4.5? Does anyone want to raise your hand on that? Joe, if not, year 2 and year 1.
I'm so tempted to take the Knicks minus 4.5. I feel like an extreme homer though, betting the Knicks like anytime. I can get away with the player props because that's more what I do. But the spreads really just like, I'm like, oh man, like we're here again, aren't we? So I've been staring at it, and I'll touch on it before I get into the rest of my plays, but I'm debating because Brunson got upgraded on this, and the line is interesting because I would think that this line would be closer to like 7, maybe even 8 with Brunson in. And I do wonder, because the Knicks don't play again until Saturday, maybe they just sit Brunson and just say like, all right, like I get maybe you want to play against the Mavericks, it's your old team, whatever, but it's not maybe worth playing you in this spot. So that was just one of the things that I was thinking about. But for my 2 and my 1-star plays, I'm looking at Isaiah Joe over 12.5 points against the Sacramento Kings. Part of why I like this is that Aaron Wiggins is out. And I think this is a good opportunity for him. I think there's a lot of blowout potential here as well with the Kings missing Domantas Sabonis, who, I think you could make the argument is either their best player. They've got a lot of like B star players on this team. So, you can make the argument one way or the other, but I do think there's an opportunity for him to maybe get a little bit of extended run. The spread is ballooned to 19.5. And I think that Isaiah Joe would be one of the guys that maybe does get to see a couple more minutes here. This season, he is just rolling on this number, hitting this in 8 of 10 games. I think I somehow managed to be on the over in one of these games that he missed. But either way, he's averaging 14.7 points per game, and the Kings are just bleeding points above the break 3. So that's where Isaiah Joe makes a lot of his money, and I like that look for him. And then for my final play, I did actually dabble with the New York Knickerbockers, and I'm grabbing Mikal Bridges over 1.5 steals. Juice is about like minus 140-ish, so there's a little bit of juice here, but I do like this spot. OG Anunoby obviously hurt, but the Mavericks are turning the ball over at a absolutely wicked pace, and a lot of it has to do with the fact they don't really have a good point guard. Their point guard is really Cooper Flagg, a mix of like Cooper Flagg, Najee Marshall, and D'Angelo Russell, and that just ain't gonna fly. And Mikal Bridges is a wizard at either picking somebody's pocket, jumping a passing lane, and he's gone over this in 4 straight games. I think that it's actually I think the opportunity is going to increase itself a little bit. Without OG Anunoby, I think that he's kind of turned into a little bit more of that like roamer type of role for New York. And I think that there's plenty of opportunity for him to go over 1.5 steals against this Mavericks team that just doesn't have a lead guard. So my 2-star play is Isaiah Joe over 12.5 points, and Mikal Bridges over 1.5 steals is my 1-star play.
Well, Joe, if you're not willing to do it, I will do it for us. I don't have this as one of my official plays on the sheet here, so we can call this a 2.5-star play. I will take the Knicks minus 4.5 for the 2 of us. The Knicks haven't covered the spread in 2 of their last 3. Both of those were spot losses. Second night of a back-to-back against the Magic, second game in a 2-game set where they won the first one against the Miami Heat. Those are clear non-cover spots for the most part. They are better in every way over the Dallas Mavericks. I don't like that OG is out for extended time here, but getting this number under 5 feels like a gift. And then if Jalen Brunson plays, I mean, just it's early Christmas. So I'm good taking the minus 4.5. I think they can cover that without Jalen Brunson. But Brian, anything? Do you need to see Brunson out there in order to handicap that game properly between the Knicks and the Mavericks, or are the Mavericks so bad that you kind of feel comfortable playing Knicks props or sides?
I shouldn't have to need Brunson because the Knicks are a good deal better. The only concern that I probably have is, okay, is this going to be a game where their offense is just not like clicking right away, regardless of Brunson's out there or not? Dallas defensively, like I could see them being a problem just because they do have length, but we'll see. I think this is a game that the Knicks should win and cover. They just haven't, for whatever reason, they haven't won a road game yet. Now, they haven't had a ton of opportunities because the majority of their games have been in Madison Square Garden, but this year they have not won a road game to this point. They're 0-4. I think this should be their first win on the road, regardless of Jalen Brunson being out there or not. And to echo the Mikal Bridges steals piece of this, he's been ridiculous. He's gone over 1.5 steals in 4 straight. He had a 7-steal game against Miami 2 games ago, and Dallas turns the ball over, I think the 7th or 8th most in the NBA right now, north of 16 turnovers per 100 possessions. We'll see again where the rankings are by the time people are actually hearing this, because these things are moving in real time because teams are actually playing games right now. But yeah, I think that's a great look. And the Knicks can take advantage of Dallas not having a point guard. Ironically, they don't really have one either because Jalen Brunson's hurt right now. You don't really trust Tyler Kolek. But still, that's a game that the Knicks should win.
What about you? 2-star, 1-star. What do you got?
2-star. Josh asked an important question for Joe and I because we've been murdering Mitchell Robinson rebounds. I'm not as sure about it, by the way, about his rebounds over 7.5 because of the. I got to see what centers are available for Dallas. Is how I would word that. My 2-star play is Miami Heat money line was what I put there before, and the line has now moved to like Heat -4, -4.5, 3.5, whatever, because Golden State is kind of indicating that not everyone may play in this game, which is why it was important to jump ahead about an hour or so ago, following their loss to the Orlando Magic, in which Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry played well and did what they were supposed to do. But the Orlando Magic seem to be figuring things out. But still, I do like the Heat in this game. Golden State is about to play their 5th back-to-back of the season. Nobody else has played as many back-to-backs as the Golden State Warriors, who are one of the older teams in the league, especially considering their core, one of the oldest cores in the NBA. So this could potentially be a spot loss, as you were talking about, Brandon. Miami's also been very good at home. They've been good at covering at home. Golden State on the road, under 500 in terms of their cover rate. Miami has been really good also this year, just with a with a rest advantage. We think that they'll be able to cover this too. And Bam Adebayo is upgraded to questionable. He might play. And this isn't an instance where, hey, the team's best player is coming back, so it's time to fade them because they'll throw off the chemistry. It's high usage, kind of like what's happening with the Lakers right now as we're recording this, and they're losing to the Utah Jazz going into late into the second quarter. But with Bam, he just makes everyone better. If you look at the lineup data, the best 5-man lineups he's out there, the best 3-man combinations, like he's going to be all over the plus side on the net rating. So I think Miami will take care of business there. 1-star play, I had a decision to make between Ryan Kalkbrenner and Moussa Diabate in terms of over, because I couldn't choose which one. But I feel like going back to our favorite game on the slate, Hornets Pacers, I feel like this is a good spot for one of them. I'm leaning Moussa Diabate though. Between the two, Diabate's points rebounds is 17.5. He's over this in 7 of 9. That only includes one game that Ryan Kalkbrenner missed, only one start. So coming off the bench, he's still shredding this number. Whereas Kalkbrenner, whose points rebounds prop is 16.5, he's over that in 3 straight and in 4 of 6. They've been over in the same game 4 different times this year, including twice in the last week. So there's a non-zero chance that both of these go over. My lean right now is to go for Diabate. The Pacers allow the most points in the paint per game, tied with Brooklyn as of this recording. And the Pacers also allow the 5th most rebounds per 100 possessions. So I think this is a good spot for both. I find Diabate a little bit more reliable, so I may play his. And I might not play Kalkbrenner's, but we'll see.
And here we go again with the Pacers and the Hornets on this podcast. Amazing. Back to the Heat game for a moment. Jimmy Butler against his former team. Brian, is that still a narrative play that people should be thinking about, whether they want to back Golden State? They want to look. Jimmy went off against a good Magic defense, and he was all fired up. He started one of those verbal spats with Jalen's thugs. Yeah. And I feel like he's getting himself all geared up for this game in Miami, but I don't know if that, because that was more of a last year thing, does that still play?
The problem is 2 things. 3 things. 1, first half of a back-to-back, and we'll see who sits in this one. Jimmy Butler recently played a back-to-back as recently as last week, but he has sit another one of the 2 legs of back-to-back before this season. Also, problem number 2, the rematch that they had last year when Jimmy came back to Miami, it was an ass whooping from the jump where Golden State just got their doors blown off. Jimmy had a terrible game. And point number 3, weirdly, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but Jimmy missed a good amount of his returns to Minnesota. He would just kind of not play. I don't know if it was quite Embiid playing in Denver or not playing in Denver against Nikola Jokic, but there were just some instances where he just happened to be hurt at the time or whatever the case may be. So I don't know if he'll play. And I don't think if he does that it'll be necessarily galvanizing for the Warriors, who have to get up again as part of their difficult schedule that Steve Kerr was, I would say, complaining about. But it's not like the points were invalid. So I think, to me, this is more of a Heat spot than a Warriors spot.
Yeah, it's and it wraps up. I think of this as a 6-game road trip for the Golden State Warriors. Joe, are you still in on the Jimmy Butler narrative?
I mean, like, maybe to a degree. It's tough because, like, I feel like with Jimmy, like, kind of like what Brian's kind of getting at is just that, like, he's almost like, do I care? Like, I don't care. Like, he, like, doesn't care to the point that he just is like, I don't care. Like, I don't need to play. Like, whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. I think that if he does play, like, he's obviously gonna try. But he also doesn't seem to be like in that, like I don't think he necessarily has anything against the players that he's playing against, or like Spo. Like, it's not like that. It's more like about the organization. So I don't know how much it's totally going to affect how he plays, if he does even play.
It's a mix.
Yeah,
I'll say that. It's a mix.
I definitely wouldn't use it as the basis to, like, bet on.
Yeah, I could see Jimmy being like, whatever. Last year when they had the rematch, the effort was whatever. So yeah, I think we'll see. I'd like to see if this bounces back to like -2.5, -3.5. So this is a wait and see on like who's actually playing, like who's on the injury report to me. Because again, Moneyline was good like an hour ago. For Keith in the comments, Moneyline was good like an hour ago, and now that we got word Golden State may actually sit some guys, this is like 3.5, 4.5, depending on where you look. So let this line settle a little bit, but before tip off, I'll probably make some sort of play on the Heat.
Yeah, I will say they were not, as of us going live here, they were not offering it in the state of Florida yet. It might be available now, but if it is, it'll be at that heavily juiced up price. My 2-star, 1-star, 2-star for me, Daniel Gafford over 17.5 points plus rebounds. The Knicks have been letting big men snatch up some boards lately. I just trust Gafford scoring more. So I looked at the rebounds, but I'm just going to marry the two together here. He's hit the over on this in his last 3. The last 4 big men that have gone up against the Knicks, Khalil Ware being 2 of them, Jaren Jackson Jr., Wendell Carter Jr., have averaged 25.5 points plus rebounds. So I like that look on Gafford. And then I'm going to go with a plus 275 play on VJ Edgecombe of the Philadelphia 76ers. So while you guys are all obsessed with the Hornets and the Pacers, I find myself locked in on Sixers, Raptors. That'll be my league pass game of the night. No Embiid means that the team can play with a more of a breakneck speed that fits perfectly with the opponent they're going up against, because Toronto can get out and run. Paul George is out. Oubre is out. More opportunities for Edgecombe. Him and Maxey, I love watching the two of those operate in the backcourt. And they play a Raptors team that they're going to get up and score. And I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I took a look at the over as well, 237.5. I don't hate that, but I feel like if we end up flying past this total, it's going to be because Maxey and Edgecombe went off, and you just simply are going to get a better price at a lower number on the rookies. So I am looking at Gafford over 17.5 points and boards, and VJ Edgecombe to score 20 or more at plus 275. Those are our 2-star and 1-star plays. It is that time of the year. We have the best deal on Action Pro as a part of our Black Friday pre-sale, and it is live now. Sign up for $40 off of an annual subscription, which is our biggest sale of the year. Action Pro users get real-time alerts from Action Network experts, Sean Kerner, Nick Giffen, Stuckey, Chris Raybon. You can track their picks in the app. Without Action Pro, you'll have to wait 30 minutes to get alerts, and you risk not getting the best of the number, like Brian just told you with the Heat money line. You'll also get real-time money percentages to see where smart money is flowing to access our NFL player prop projections as well, all powered by Sean Kerner. The best deal of the year runs through Sunday. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up for $40 off of your annual subscription. It is time for us to discuss our Shack Pack over on DraftKings. Make sure you look for this on Wednesdays. You can opt in and get a boost on a double-double parlay. So we are going to give out some of our favorite double-doubles on this fine Wednesday in the association. Joe, get us started.
Pulled my Matt Moore of the episode here.
Cash it. He was muted.
So I was looking at LaMelo, obviously, for points, and I was debating between points and assists, what I wanted to do. His assist line has kind of been floating around either like 7+ or 7.5. 7.5 today. He's literally hit this in all 8 games this season with 8+ in all of them. And I do think it's a good opportunity against this Pacers team to get the double-double. So I'll add LaMelo for double-double. He's got 3 games out of 8 with double-digit dimes. So there's always that. And then LaMelo too, he's not always getting you double-digit rebounds, but he can. So you do get a little bit of optionality with this LaMelo bet. So I'm going to grab LaMelo double-double for my leg.
Back to the Hornets and the Pacers. And I'm guessing, Brian, are you back there as well?
If I'm taking Moussa Diabate over 17.5 points plus rebounds, I might as well sprinkle on the double-double as well. Moussa, this is a Hornets. This is a Hornets and Knicks podcast now. Hornets, Knicks, a little bit of heat, a little bit of magic. Moussa Diabate this season has, counting them right now, 5 double-doubles in 14 games, 4 of them off the bench. He'll be off the bench in this one. And again, has a favorable matchup against the Pacers, as outlined earlier, given league high points in the paint allowed, 5th most rebounds per 100 possessions. Love this spot for Moussa Diabate and for Ryan Kalkbrenner. Whoever's consistent, I'd feel bad if Diabate doesn't have the over and Kalkbrenner does, but I do feel like it's going to be a good game on the inside for the Hornets regardless.
All right, a pair of Charlotte folks, and I will give us the layup of the night on the double-double. Karl Anthony Towns, Mr. Double-Double himself, just 9, the biggest bet that you could ever lay out there. -500, by the way, if you wanted to bet that by itself. He's hit a double-double in 9 straight games, and I believe there's only one on the season where he has not hit a double-double. So that right there is our Shack Pack of the night. LaMelo Ball, Moussa Diabate, and Karl Anthony Towns, all brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Somebody said, hey, fellas, can I get a birthday shout out for my little brother, Carrie? Carrie, a happy birthday to you from the Buckets crew. What we got you was a bunch of picks in Hornets Pacers. You're welcome. Light a fucking candle.
Awesome. I mean, as long as they're winners, that's all you care about. So
that's it.
Hopefully you have a good birthday and cash a couple of these slips. Get yourself a birthday present with that.
Well said, Joe. Well said. Hey, Ma, guess what I got? All right, that's a wrap, folks. Shout out to the crew, Joe, Brian, great show. Our producer, David Payne, thanks to you as well. If you want to tail any of the picks that we talked about, look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description, or head to actionnetwork.com/bet now. You can also get $40 off of Action Pro right now, part of our Black Friday presale. Go to actionnetwork.com/pro for $40 off of an annual subscription. You will never look back. Shout out to DraftKings. The crown is yours. We'll see you back here next time. Till then, let's get buckets.